parents. When did you realize you went too far with your child? I turned my 11-year-old son into a nervous wreck because I couldn't handle him getting a single B. Darren was always this quiet kid who hated making waves. He'd apologize for breathing too loud. When he started 6th grade, he was pulling straight A's like it was nothing. I was so proud. I'd show off his report cards to my sister, post them on Facebook, the whole thing. But then November came around and his report card had mostly B's with just 3 A's. I completely lost it. Not at him directly, but I went into full panic mode. I sat him down at our kitchen table with this serious voice and told him, smart kids don't settle for mediocre grades. I made him redo every homework assignment that wasn't perfect. And I mean perfect. If his handwriting looked sloppy, he'd have to rewrite the whole thing. If he got one math problem wrong, he'd do 20 more just like it. I took away his Nintendo Switch, banned him from watching TV during the week, and made him study an extra 2 hours every night. I even printed out these motivational quotes and taped them all over his bedroom walls. Stuff like, failure isn't an option, and winners never quit. I thought I was helping him reach his potential. Really, I was just scared other parents would think I wasn't doing my job. Darren never complained. He just nodded and said, okay, mom, to everything. But I started noticing weird things. He'd wake up at 5 a.m. to sit at the kitchen table with his homework, checking it over and over. He'd skip lunch at school to review flashcards in the library. His teacher even called to ask if everything was okay at home because he seemed anxious all the time. One Tuesday night around 10 p.m., I went downstairs to get some water and found him passed out at the kitchen table. His face was pressed against his math worksheet, and there were dried tears on his cheeks. He still had his pencil gripped tight in his hand like he'd fallen asleep mid-problem. Instead of feeling bad for him, I actually got frustrated. I woke him up and told him he needed to manage his time better if he wanted to be successful. He just looked at me with these tired eyes and nodded. I sent him to bed and finished his worksheet myself so it wouldn't be late. 2 weeks later, he brought home his next report card. All A's except for 1 B+ in math. I sat him down and explained that B+ wasn't acceptable when he was clearly capable of better. I told him smart kids don't make excuses and that he needed to try harder. He didn't say anything back, just took the report card and walked to his room. I heard his door close really quietly, which was weird because usually he'd slam it when he was upset. That night, my husband Jake went to check on him before bed. I was washing dishes when I heard Jake calling my name from upstairs. His voice sounded panicked. I ran up and found him sitting on Darren's bed holding this small spiral notebook. Inside were pages and pages of notes in Darren's handwriting. Things like, I'm not smart enough, and I hate myself for being stupid, and maybe if I just sleep forever, I won't disappoint mom anymore. There were also these lists where he'd written down every mistake he made during the day, from getting a problem wrong to dropping his pencil. The worst one said, I wish I was never born because then mom could have a smart kid instead. I completely broke down reading those words. Jake just looked at me and said, Clara, what have you done to our son? I realized I hadn't been helping Darren succeed. I'd been teaching him to hate himself for being human. The next morning, I took down every single poster in his room. I canceled the tutoring sessions I'd signed him up for. I gave him back his Nintendo Switch and told him he could watch TV whenever he wanted. Then I sat with him on our couch and cried harder than I ever have in my life. I apologized for making him think he wasn't good enough. I told him that I loved him exactly as he was, B's and all. We spent the whole day building this massive blanket fort in the living room and watching SpongeBob reruns together. It took months for him to start laughing again.